Speaking of what you get from people, this last Reddit, so I read it that like everyone was like, I need a part 2, I need a thing or whatever.
We got a part 2 for y'all.
We got a part 2 for y'all. And I'm feeling...
I'm ready.
Oh yeah, Rachel hasn't seen it.
I haven't. This is a surprise. I'm part of the peanut gallery.
Yeah, so I wanted to pull up the... Everyone was like, is there a part 2? Is there a part 2? And so there is a part 2 to this. Like, my brother-in-law is the reason why my husband left me. I don't know what to do now. If people remember this, the brother-in-law went through her phone and somehow got some of her nudes and had a friend of his show them to the husband so that the husband would think that she was cheating and leave her, and it worked. And then she puts 2 and 2 together that this brother-in-law has been obsessed with her because he met her while she was in college and she rejected him. And the only reason she puts this together is because the friend that he roped into all of this starts feeling, I honestly concerned for her safety, it sounded, because of how invested the brother-in-law was in her, even after her marriage ended. And people were so bought into this because there was like this, I mean, one, it's salacious, but 2, it's like unsafe and odd and just one of those situations that you would think is a Lifetime movie.
Yes.
And so people are like, you know, follow up. Like, what are the comments? Or what are the things? So the person... Do
you want me to start with the OP one? Or like where...
Like the hi, yes, I met my husband. And
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So she responds back. The post was a month ago and this comment was a month ago. And when I looked, it looked like it was like a couple days after the initial post, because she was writing back and forth with people saying like, I'm gonna meet with my husband, I'm nervous about how it was going, all of this. So then she finally does and responds back and says, hi, yes, I met with my husband and it didn't go well at all. We talked and he apologized and asked me to forgive him. He said that he never truly believed that I would cheat, but the evidence was overwhelming and he just thought that he believed me because he was blinded by his love for me. He then wanted to head over to my sister and her husband to confront them, but I asked him not to. Until I am comfortable with my sister is at least my parents. What? Until I am uncomfortable that my sister is at least at my parents. Got it. I wanted my parents to ask her to go visit, and we will tell her then. I'm actually going to redo that paragraph. He then wanted to head over to my sister and her husbands to confront him, but I asked him not to until I am comfortable with that my sister is at my parents. I wanted my parents to ask her to go visit them, and we tell her then. That way she's not with her husband, and she finds out that he is exposed. This morning I got calls and texts from everyone because my husband went and did it anyway. And he had a huge fight with my brother-in-law. He denied everything, of course. So my husband blasted him on social media and made an apology for believing rumors about me. My sister was angry with me and my parents were confused and shocked. I have talked to my parents and told them everything now and they believe me, but they agree that I should have gotten the chance to talk to my sister before hell broke loose. Now she is not speaking to me because my husband tried to beat up her husband.
Well, she tried. She tried to talk to her sister first.
How?
Didn't she say she was going to and he beat her to the punch? Isn't that what she just said?
Oh. Do you think it was wrong of him to confront them?
No.
So here's
hell no.
So
manly shit.
Yeah, you should. That's like hands down.
I honestly think she's talking about it like it doesn't impact him, but it does impact him. But it impacts her more. And so I do get like, yo, this is my family. This is my life. Like, I'm asking you to wait, respect my wishes.
Yeah, totally.
I think that was overblown.
She gets precedence for sure.
And so I do think that was like a little selfish on his end and probably just like furious that his life got blown up by this thing.
And he feels like a dummy, probably.
Well, it makes sense to me because his line of logic is actually kind of similar to I think mine would be, which is like, I believe you, but I have this hard evidence. Like, am I stupid?
Right.
Am I blinded by love? Like, that didn't seem crazy to me for him to wonder that.
Am I a dumb bitch?
Yeah.
And you just can't be.
So I like went and looked at like the comments and responses. So somebody was asking like if they're going to rekindle. And she was like, I think he's seeing someone. I looked down later in the post. He's not seeing someone. She did go to the police and they said they couldn't do anything. Unfortunately, there will not be any legal consequences. The police seemed uninterested, which I think is really disappointing.
It's like revenge porn almost.
I think it's like revenge porn. And then not only that, but this thing that happens that's really unsafe is like because this person isn't like directly stalking you daily, like as in physically showing up, like I don't have any protection against them, even though it's really obvious that this person has spent a lot of mental energy towards me, and that's terrifying and a huge red flag for my safety. So just like the fact that I can't prove what he did, or that he's not like showing up in person all the time, means the police aren't going to do anything. But I think most people with common sense would say that like being disinvested in someone after meeting them 10 years later is like common sense that something's wrong.
Weird as fuck.
Oh, it's terrifying. It like, and now I want to know more. Like, what does she mean by he tried to beat up the brother-in-law?
Like the brother-in-law. Like, do you think her husband lost, and that's why they're not getting back together?
That's like truly. I'm dead serious. That's what I was thinking.
He washed him. That's hilarious.
I'll lay you out, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So someone else asked a question. I don't remember what this question was, but I thought that her response was interesting, which is trigger warning, self-harm, which I personally hate trigger warnings, but
Yes.
Why?
because I think that the world is triggering. And so I think that setting people up to be like, it's wrong when other people trigger you, I think is a setup for failure. Like, sure, in a perfect world, I agree with that.
Mhm.
But it's not a perfect world. And then the second thing is like, who gets to decide what's triggering and wrong to share?
That part.
Like, who gets to decide
Yes.
what's triggering? Who gets to say what a trigger is and when it's wrong in a space? And I think like
Why is suicide triggering? Why is any offensive?
often when people say this is a safe space, they're saying this is a space where I don't need to feel uncomfortable. And that is not what a safe space means. And I think trigger warning like insinuates that other people should be thinking about your comfort. And I think that that's true
Yes.
in interpersonal relationships, but not on the internet.
There we go.
What does safe space mean then?
What it means to them is a place where I don't feel uncomfortable. I'm not actually like really for safe spaces, and this isn't my term, and I don't remember who coined it, but I like brave spaces. So it's like a space where you're able to share your opinion and
Yeah.
not be pushed out.
People should have to hear things that are difficult to hear. That's the nature of a free society, right?
Yeah, I think it might be Renee Brown actually. After we shit on her, everybody, even people who miss the point at times, have something of value to offer an ad.
They still have gems.
Yeah, they still have gems. So like I think it's a brave space. And I personally think this like shitting on safe spaces and like move to brave spaces is what white women need to hear from other white women. Like that's the most effective piece. So
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Wow.
Like keep talking to each other about that.
That's
And
what they need.
keep big upping them on that. Like that is like the thing to do.
Unfortunately, I'm not talking to white women for quite some time. Otherwise, I would bring the message. But yeah.
When you re-add, when you have your second marriage and decide to marry a white woman,
No.
let us know. So, okay. I don't really have much to add. My sister is very angry. She said that I've ruined her husband's reputation because my ex has blasted him and his friends everywhere. And now he's talking about wanting to end his life because I ruined it because of a joke he played. A joke he played? A joke he played? Your sister's a joke.
joking.
Your sister's a joke.
She said I've ruined her husband's reputation.
Your sister's a joke. This is why people aren't honest about what happens to them, because it is actually more traumatizing than the actual event to have your family fucking
Yep.
act like this. This is ridiculous. That's why people don't tell the truth. Are you serious? Are you serious?
It doesn't even matter if she's like part of the abuse now too. It's like she's like
Because of a joke he played. So you believe her. That's the thing that's actually the most triggering, is that like you believe her, but you're calling it a joke, but you
Yep.
believe her that it happened.
Yep.
It'd be one thing if you didn't believe that it happened. You believe that it happened, but
Now he's talking about wanting to end his life. You spread my nudes. I should want to fucking kill myself. What?
I missed that part. Oh.
Now he's talking about wanting to end his life.
My parents
have
told her everything was exposed, and apparently she believed it. She believed them, me, at first, but now she's turned on them and she's refusing to listen. I wish I could have a moment with her first before hell broke loose. Also, I think that your ex-husband is bogus for like telling them ahead of you, but I think you're a little delusional that you think if you would have got a moment alone with your sister, she would have bought into this.
She would have turned
who
on you right then.
She knows who her husband is.
She knows who he is.
She knows who her husband is.
She can't. She had to choose, and she chose the man because that's what fucking bitches do. But she couldn't be with him and be your sister because he was lusting after you.
Not only was he lusting after you, but he's creepy. Like if this wasn't a joke, he's not a safe person to be around. Like, and this is the part that people don't get, is like, it's not that what you're saying isn't convincing. That's not why your family doesn't believe you. It's that believing you would blow up their life. They can't believe you because believing you would ruin their life.
Yep.
And so they're choosing not to believe you because they can't handle the truth that you're sharing with them, which is also why they never picked up on it and you did. I work
Yep.
with kids all the time that see the truth in their family and the adults don't see it. The only reason the adults don't see it is because
They
that
don't
truth would
want to.
ruin their life. It
Yep.
would blow up where they are. They would have to stop what they were doing
It'll
if
blow up the
they had
fantasy.
to acknowledge that the way they were behaving is the reason their kid wants to die. The way that they're behaving has caused their kid to be unsafe. They would have to stop what they're doing. So instead, they don't acknowledge it. They diminish it. They minimize it because they can't accept it. And that's what your sister's doing. It has nothing to do with how she was told the information. There's one reaction to have to this that's like in tune with your body, which is this is unsafe, and she's not having it. And I don't believe her actually that she sided with the parents at first. She probably got angry, ran to the husband, and he was like, I was fucking around.
Yeah.
And back she went.
Wasn't that even hard for her to do?
At all. These are people's updates, though. So now you know it didn't even go well. I'm really curious. I couldn't find any comments where they responded to why they are not getting back with their husband. But I'm going to guess there was something there beforehand because if this was the only reason, it was resolved.
Yeah.
So.
How are you?
I